Instead of reacting to Denver's next pedestrian death, what if we took you to the trouble spot ahead of time? Conservatives fighting over Colorado's unspent recall donations. They say this could all get solved if President Trump would just give them a call. We'll meet a Coloradan who gave up a Grammy-winning career to do something more important. And just when we started tearing up I-70, here's a new idea. Tear up I-25, too. Let's hope that project goes better than this one. Next. Let's start tonight with a question. Is this video from I-25 in Santa Fe, is this rush hour on a weeknight, or is it Saturday morning traffic? Better question, can we really tell the difference anymore? CDOT knows that squeeze point on I-25 from Santa Fe up through downtown is a mess. It's a mess Monday through Friday. It's a mess on the weekends. Now, CDOT's usual plan to just lay down more lanes so that we can eventually fill all those with traffic is complicated by the fact that when you look at that part of I-25, you got the river on one side and you got the rail line on the other side of the interstate. But CDOT's eyeing some other land nearby, and our Marshall Zellinger found out.
When I say Burnham Yard, you say, huh? Burnham Yard is this 61-acre plot of land just east of I-25 between about 4th and 13th Avenues. Union Pacific is selling it, and CDOT wants to buy it.
The interstate can't take everybody that's coming here, right? We've already seen that happen, and so we're trying to look at more and more options to create that multimodal decision point.
With or without Burnham Yard, CDOT is looking at improving central I-25, where the traffic is always there.
We've got to come up with quite a few options and try to figure out what the least impactful is.
There appear to be 5 options to fix I-25 between Santa Fe and 20th Street downtown. One is, well, kind of do nothing. CDOT would shift the railroad farther east and then slide the highway over to give it the proper shoulder widths. Option 2, move southbound I-25 to the west of the Platte River. That would involve some businesses giving up their land. Option 3, stack them. Put one direction of I-25 over the other. Option 4, more eminent domain as the highway shifts to the east of the railroad. Option 5, move the railroad farther east, freeing up space to expand I-25 where it is.
The cost doesn't necessarily drive which option you come up with. We know that from Central 70. There was least costly options that we did not choose because they weren't least impactful.
When CDOT talks about impact, it means to drivers and landowners. Moving I-25 to the west of the Platte or to the east of the railroad means acquiring property, perhaps eminent domain.
Yeah, they're businesses. Those have big impacts not only to the business owners and the local people, but also the tax base as well.
You heard me use the word eminent domain, which CDOT does not like to use. I'm told friendly acquisitions is actually the better term. This is the area we're talking about, 6th Avenue here, 8th Avenue here. But picture this, Kyle. If the highway, instead of doing this right by the stadium there, perhaps did this. Now, I'm sorry if you own a business here. Let's not get into that for a second. But if it was just a straight highway, wouldn't that alleviate some of the problems?
But would it, though? I mean,
I'm told we've got traffic counts. 250,000 people drive here every day. You've got the on-ramps, off-ramps. That's where the congestion happens. But I'm just wondering if because it curves a lot. And I know at night when there's no traffic, the curves aren't a problem. But I'm on to something, I feel like.
Well, you should present that plan to them. And I should also disclose the fact that I made a friendly acquisition of your lunch from the workplace refrigerator. All right. Thank you, Marshall. The unsuccessful recall of Democratic Governor Jared Polis is over. Yet conservatives are still fighting over the money that was raised from people who thought that it was going to be used for a recall. And now are you ready for things to get really weird? Because the Trump campaign is getting involved. And a recall organizer told me today that she wants the president to call her personally to sort this out. He's not going to call her. One of the committees raising money to recall Polis never ran a recall, but they still have a stack of those recall donations. So the so-called official recall committee has shifted $30,000 in donations to a new group called Coloradans for Trump. Same woman in charge. Except Colorado for Trump is not affiliated with President Trump. As you might imagine, Trump campaign does not like that, considering action over the misleading name. Today, the recall organizer, Juliandra Fuentes, told me that she wants the president to call her personally if he wants his name removed from her committee. This all sounds comical, except perhaps to all the Coloradans who donated tens of thousands of dollars to what they thought was going to be an actual recall campaign. Denver is on track right now for the most traffic deaths in a decade. Cyclists are furious. Pedestrians are begging for some protection. And I mean, to see the trouble spots, just use your eyes. It's not complicated. I mean, take Spear and Downing. Our Noel Brennan was invited to take a look.
For the middle of the afternoon, things look pretty normal. You know, we've got some cars cruising by. My walk literally begins right here. I come out of my apartment building right here. I walk down this way.
If it's rush hour,
come down this little slope.
Jonathan Rose is taking a walk that feels like a fight for his life.
Yeah, and that's not much of an exaggeration. You know, I posted this video on Twitter today. That was a realistic view of what it's like to walk across the street every day.
From this pedestrian's perspective, crossing Spear and Downing is unsafe.
Pure chaos sometimes.
Especially without a crosswalk.
They repaved Corona and Downing, but it has been about a month since they finished the repaving process. And as you can probably see, there are still no crosswalk stripes painted.
Denver Public Works admits they're behind schedule. They rely on contractors to lay down thermoplastic striping. For weeks, cars, cyclists, and people have navigated unmarked pavement.
And I'm also paying attention to who's in this far right lane, because these guys are the most likely to fly through.
A pedestrian's tweets made it to DPW, who tweeted back Tuesday, crosswalks will be installed over the next 2 nights.
I think that when I posted this video showing the close calls that I'm having, even walking across the street with my phone on my chest, very obviously recording things, I think that struck a nerve.
Hopefully the rush hour walk won't always feel this way.
Sometimes all it takes is a tweet to make things change.
For Next, I'm Noel Brennan.
That's the same intersection where a Denver Post reporter, Colleen O'Connor, was hit and killed by a drunk driver 3 years ago. Denver Public Works told us they will have an engineer out to take another look at that intersection to see if there's more they can do besides the crosswalks. So assuming that is not lip service from the city, we'll ask them to report back to us what exactly they decide. Perhaps you have noticed there aren't as many journalists holding government agencies accountable these days, especially in Colorado's small towns. So it often falls to citizens to fight for open government, whether you're talking about a city council meeting or the workings of a special district, like in Strasburg, where citizens are demanding more transparency from their fire department. Our Steve Steger reminds all of us of our right to open meetings.
I've heard a number of questions.
The Strasburg Fire Protection District's board meetings usually aren't videotaped, but a group started doing this a couple of months back. They're concerned about a conflict of interest debate. A volunteer paramedic in Strasburg, Brad Jones, started the group called Friends of Strasburg Fire.
We deserve a government that is responsive to the public, that is led by public servants who have the public's interests at heart.
And now his group is suing the district over this.
So we're going to go into executive session. Going to be pursuant to 246402-4B for specific privileged legal advice regarding contracts and employment manual interpretation.
Friends of Strasburg Fire's complaint filed last week in Adams County Court cites that silence.
We allege that the fire board has gone into closed-door executive session that's not open to the public against state law.
State law requires a local public body must vote to go into executive session, and it requires a 2/3 majority.
The formation of public policy in Colorado is public business and shall not be conducted in secret. That's what the law says. That's the whole point of the law.
Jeff Roberts with the Colorado Freedom of Information Coalition says open meetings law says if a local body is going to close its doors to the public, they have to do 3 things. Cite the statute that allows them to do it, be specific about what is going to be discussed, and vote. If they don't,
the public should stand up, whoever's in the public should stand up and say, you know, hey, you're supposed to do this. It says so in state law. Why are you doing this?
Now, if Friends of Strasburg Fire is successful in this complaint, they could ask a judge to release the recording of the executive session. Recordings are required under state law. We reached out to the attorney for the fire board, but we have not heard back. But the bottom line in this, Kyle, is chances are you live in one of these small districts. You may not even know about it. You may not even know who runs it.
Yeah.
But you should know the law that if you go to one of these meetings and they say we're going to go into executive session, that they have to tell you what the statute is, they have to be specific about what they're going to talk about, and they have to vote on it.
And literally stand up and be like, guys, follow the law.
The law says do it this way. You got to do it this way.
Interesting. All right, everybody can advocate for themselves in their community. Thank you, Steve. Tonight, for the very first time, our Presented Without Comment segment comes from you in the audience. DJ sent us this from Frederick. This is really something to behold. I mean, there's a couple of levels here. I mean, one, Mike Brady could not be bothered to move the car, and then the resealing crew is just like, yep, wingo, no problem. I don't know, maybe they doubled back. Unclear.
It's a superpower we all possess, the power of a thank you.
It's absolutely uplifting, and it absolutely confirms why we do what we do, that we are part of this community and they are with us.
And it's a sign that your hike might be more exciting than you want. That's next.
It's a sign to watch your step at Steamboat Lake State Park. But seriously though, landmines in the area. Unclear that was an issue that we had in the state of Colorado. Our viewer John saw this sign up in Routt County. We called the fire chief, who tells us that the big warning sign that says stay on trail, that is for real, but the landmine part was some prankster's sticker. Our goal here at Next is to ruin all kinds of fun, so there's a maintenance crew that's going out to remove the sticker. If you see a sign that stops you in your tracks, share it with us. Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext.
Mother Nature giving us subtle signs that fall is right around the corner with a change in the weather pattern. Low pressure to the north of us bringing in the wind today. Not much moisture and a warm day with temperatures back close to 90. The Gulf dealing with heavy thunderstorms from a tropical system outside of Houston. And Umberto is now a Category 2 storm forecast to stay offshore. We do have a beautiful day here with that temperature above average at 88. We'll see seasonal readings heading into the weekend. The moisture very limited tonight and tomorrow. We put an isolated gusty thunderstorm in for the foothills tonight and again in the afternoon. But if you see any rain from those storms, count yourself lucky. Tonight, quiet, 53 degrees. A cool start to your day tomorrow with sunshine, a high of 83. We get you into the weekend with above average temperatures, and then we see seasonal highs in the 70s. Autumnal equinox is Monday, the start of fall. And again, just kind of a word to the wise this time of year. There could be a moose on the loose if you're out enjoying the Colorado outdoors, Kyle.
Kathy, thank you. State troopers did not rush to stop the shooting at STEM School Highlands Ranch in search of a thank you. But state troopers tell us they are immensely grateful that they received one.
I thought there might be a poster or a couple of letters, but as we started laying this stuff out, there was more and more and more of it.
Dear first responders.
Dear first responder.
Dear first responder.
Dear STEM first responder. May 7th, the day of the STEM shooting, was one of the most difficult days we've ever had to endure. It's a day that none of us will ever forget, but out of the horrific events that day, we could see a community that came together.
Dear first responders, I'm extremely thankful that you arrived at our school so fast.
Thank you for your bravery of May 7th.
Thank you so much for keeping us safe. We have letters, we have thank you cards.
Thanks for your service, first responders, and for all you do to the community.
The kids from STEM, it was a way for them to kind of express their appreciation.
One of my favorites here is an index card that says thank you for all that you do.
But even with 100 cards, I could never express how grateful I am.
Thank you for making our school safe and making it a better place for all of us, teachers and students.
It's absolutely uplifting, and it absolutely confirms why we do what we do, that we are part of this community and they are with us. May 7th, 2019, you proved that bravery is possible in you.
Thank you so much for helping us during this tragic event.
I'm thankful to be here thanks to you.
For me, even the cards that are as simple as, we have a few that just say thank you. I really think even something that simple means the world to these first responders, to the troopers specifically that responded.
As I looked out my window and saw the flashing lights, I knew I was safe. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Those two words mean the world to us.
Thank you for everything.
Captain Burt plans to put those cards and posters up at the training center, specifically right where the new troopers will see them.
He won a Grammy, performed with stars, and then his world changed in a word.
My son was diagnosed with autism.
He left the bright lights behind for a seemingly simple but complicated mission.
When people tell you your child has a 90% chance of not having a job, it doesn't seem like really much of a future.
And the Denver Zoo is losing more of its animals for a familiar reason. That's next.
If you've listened to Taylor Swift or Faith Hill, there's a good chance that you heard Danny Combs in the background. He's a Grammy Award-winning guitarist. That was his life's passion until the day that his son was diagnosed with autism. Danny now lives in Denver and has a new mission.
So my son was diagnosed with autism. They are the highest unemployed group in the country. It's a 90% unemployment rate. So when people tell you your child has a 90% chance of not having a job, it didn't seem like really much of a future. I wanted to change it. That just wasn't okay with me. My name is Danny Combs, and I founded and run a nonprofit here in Denver called TACT. We've been here 3 years. We started in 2016. TACT stands for Teaching the Autism Community Trades.
And so we have an auto program, we have welding, carpentry, guitar making, a lot of hands-on things. My name's Mason Farrick. I'm the welding and carpentry teacher at TACT. We're actually the only school in the country that's doing this sort of program.
It gives everyone a chance. My name is John Roland Pearson. I am 18 years old. I am learning to weld. I really want to work. It's honestly what makes us whole.
Our kids here for the first time, I think, a lot of times are actually given the opportunity to succeed. And it just happens that individuals with autism are really good at this kind of problem-solving, hands-on type learning. We have an 86% job placement rate, and we're getting kids really, really good jobs. They're equally brilliant and kind, and they're talented, and they're just looking for an outlet and somebody to give them a chance to actually see somebody for what they have to offer and look past a label of autism. That's a first for a lot of kids.
TACT is working with 7 school districts and about 500 students so far. They recently helped upgrade all the chemistry tables in Jeffco Public Schools. They worked on displays at History Colorado and the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Right next to that museum, of course, is the Denver Zoo. And first it was the polar bears that got shipped out of town. And now the zoo's gorillas are being relocated. 3 of them moved to the Jacksonville Zoo. Jim, Tinga, and a 3-year-old baby Whimsy arrived in Florida today. There is a national group that monitors the animal populations in zoo, the American Species Survival Plan, and they recommended moving the gorillas from Denver to Florida, hoping that they'll mate with the gorillas there in Jacksonville. Apparently, the Bow Chicka Wow Wow was not working out here in town. There are 2 gorillas still staying at the Denver Zoo. They are the resident bachelors, Charlie and Curtis. Bad news, gentlemen, no plans to bring in lady friends for you. It's been almost a year since Cranberry, the polar bear, was relocated from Denver to the Alaska Zoo. A lack of reproduction was the issue there as well. This is a live look at Cranberry's exhibit. Don't ask me if that's Cranberry or the male polar bear. I don't understand these things. So they've been paired up there at the Alaska Zoo. Zookeepers don't know if she's pregnant. We've talked about this on Next. I'm fascinated by this. Polar bear pregnancies are a complete mystery. It's so hard to tell when these bears are pregnant. The best detection method used to be a now retired dog that would sniff the polar bear poop to tell if they were pregnant. You thought your job was terrible. A shout out to an old friend and your feedback next. Didn't want to just repeat the nightly story, but a big shout out to Colorado's Sarah Thomas, a guest here and a viewer. First person to swim the English Channel 4 times. Congrats, Sarah.